If you don't fail, you're not even trying. My wife told me this great expression: to get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
The only thing that you should focus on if you're in your 20s or early 30s is your career. Once you have that set, everything else will follow. The girls, the boys, the house, the car, etc. Don't waste your life away by getting into the drugs, the alcohol, and the partying. Trust me, you don't want to wake up in your 40s and have to go work at a job and with people you don't like. So get your mindset straight, get your money right, and I promise you, everything will be alright, my friend.
There are two things that define you in life: your patience when you have nothing, and your attitude when you have everything.
If you want to be great, you want to be the baddest motherfucker ever at what you do, you could be misunderstood by everybody because you're going to be so fucking obsessed and so driven to get there. That's what it takes.
That's the truth.
It takes every second of your fucking life. Anybody says balance? Yeah, balance is important for a lot of fucking people. It is. But if you want to fucking go to that edge where people do not like you, don't understand you, question everything you fucking do, you've arrived.
This is a concept that may help you have a less stressful life, inspired by Ray Dalio's explanation of the debt cycle of an economy. When we seek to improve ourselves, our desired outcome is usually a balanced application of discipline and creativity, resulting in a linear line of growth over time in an upwards direction. But that's not the actual human experience. Usually we find ourselves struggling to get our lives together, then succeeding but falling back onto old habits, trying again, reassessing, getting even better, and then crashing again. This is a cycle we go through over and over again, and it's extremely anxiety-inducing. We have really strong desires to do well, so we apply discipline to our lives and do what we know should be done, but then, unable to stand the control of it any longer, we break down into a time of struggle that often leads to a new discovery that enables us to move even higher the next time. As you do this, you're constantly playing with order and chaos. You're applying order to your life to make things happen that you know should. But then, your natural and equally important need for chaos takes over, and you rebel against your diet, fall into a manic creative phase, go on a spending spree, or do something far worse, either by means of rebellion against your previous self, or maybe by telling yourself that you deserve it, because after all, you've done so well. But the time of chaos comes with a price. So you wake up the next day or week with a hangover or a lot of great ideas, but a broken business structure. And tell yourself that you won't fall prey to that kind of thinking again. You'll be more disciplined next time. But here's the problem with that line of thinking. You need chaos. A straight line moving upwards sounds good in theory, but in reality, that is a life of boredom and frustration. It's hell because there's no space for creativity, surprise, beauty, or exploration in a life like that. And a life of total chaos is a life of hell too, because though it might be bright and exciting, it's so disorganized that the bills don't get paid, the diet makes you miserable, deadlines get missed, and you behave too unpredictably around your friends to maintain relationships. Absolute order or chaos is extremely destructive to the human animal. So we find ourselves moving back and forth between both in what is hopefully an upward trajectory through education, experience, and time. But back to the problem of the original behavior one engages in when trying to improve their life. It's extremely anxiety-inducing. Getting thrown back and forth between different phases of life is very difficult. It's full of stress as self-inflicted setbacks come. We reject our own habits. We get frustrated with the work we're doing, throw it all up in the air, and sometimes go back to rock bottom in frustration to start over. I believe there is another way, and the ideal looks like a smooth wave trending in an upwards direction. We have periods in our life where we're performing at a higher level in some aspects, and periods where we perform at a lower level. And if we can transition more smoothly between the two, I believe this can result in a much higher quality of life. We all need to take on behaviors that sometimes lower certain aspects of our performance, and that's okay. But being thrown off by it is where the real damage comes from, not the lowering in performance itself. The way to not be thrown off is through awareness, anticipation,
So this is a hack that I use to multiply my income and take my career in life to a completely different level in just 3 to 4 years. So when I was in college, I went to a school in Long Beach, California, and I lived in an apartment with literally 6 different roommates. And it was kind of a rough situation. We made the best of it. But one thing that I did to associate my mind with wealth and for going to another level is about once a week I would go to Beverly Hills, which is the nicest part of California, and I would literally go hang out in the areas. I'd go to the nice hotels, and I would just surround myself with success and wealth so I could be more comfortable. And what happens is when your brain starts associating those things to your life, that's when you can start producing higher results, because one, you see it's possible, but two, you become comfortable in that environment and around those people.
You don't have the money for your projects because you don't ask for it. And you don't ask for it is because you don't believe in it enough. And if you don't believe in it enough, the bank knows it and you know it, and that's why you don't ask them. Because you know what they're going to say. If you don't go in with as much enthusiasm as you're seeing me show here, the chances of you getting what you want out of a financial institution are next to zero.
If you're angry about something, you don't act on your anger. You wait 24 hours, 48 hours before sending that email, before yelling at someone. These are little steps you take to learn to control that. If you're highly ambitious and you show too much of it, sometimes it's good to show ambition, but you need to show a certain amount, not too much to frighten people. Well, that's what these books are about. They're being self-aware that in a certain situation, you enter an office, 30 people, and you suddenly show that you want to be like the number one person. You're going to find your path really difficult in life. But if you show that you don't have any ambition, no one will respect you. So you have to hit that proper medium.
Got it.
And you learn how to do that. You learn by your mistakes, you learn by the people you've pissed off, that you've alienated, and you learn self-control. There are two laws. One of them is make others come to you, and the second law is use absence to create honor and respect. And the idea is, if you're always going after the other person, if you're always the pursuer, etc., they start to take you for granted. Sure. If you're always the one calling and texting, you're in their face constantly, thinking that that's the way to make them love you. They take you for granted. They think you're so familiar that they have you wrapped around your finger a little bit. And unconsciously, they lose a bit of respect. They may not say it, but it'll come out in their behavior. And over time, you know, the spell of love will kind of diminish. So you want to step back, you want to create some distance, some absence, and you want to make them come to you instead of you going to them. If you make them take a move towards you, then the game is reversed, the dynamic is reversed.
How much has Lionel Messi pushed you to become a better player?
I'm pushed to myself. I don't need other players to push myself. I just worked since I was in sporting, so I push myself all the time to be the best.